Welcome to all of you and all the viewers of MNT News Network. Once again, on behalf of MNT News Network, I welcome you all. Today is Sunday, and Sunday we are having a special discussion on in the English language on various topics that we are covering. And today we have with us a very distinguished personality with us. And today, as it is 9th of January, and today is the death anniversary of Sir Chhotu Ram, Dinbandhu Sir Chhotu Ram. And on behalf of MNT News Network, we would like to first play tribute to him for his entire struggle and the life he had devoted for the social upliftment of the downtrodden people. And as it is the 9th of January, death anniversary of Dinbandhu Sir Chhotu Ram. Today, we would like to discuss on his life and his struggle toward the upliftment of the poor and downtrodden people, so that most of the viewers, MNT viewers, they will come to know about his struggle and his fight for the downtrodden upliftments. And today we are going to discuss on the topic related to Sir Chhotu Ram only. And the topic that we are going to discuss is Sir Chhotu Ram, a Bahujan Ideologue of Pre-Independent India. And it is glad to announce that today we have a very special and distinguished guest from Islamabad. We have Dr. Akhtar Hussain Sandhu. He is a professor of history and he is writing in Nawa Waqt, and he is a columnist writer, and he is writing various columns in this newspaper, and he is also writing in various social media about the history of Punjab and the history of people related to the downtrodden people. So let us welcome. First of all, I would like to welcome Dr. Akhtar Sandhu. Dr. Sir, a warm welcome on behalf of MNT News Network, and we welcome you on our studio. And today we are delighted to have you in our studio. So, on behalf of MNT News Network, first of all, a big welcome, Jamim sir. And sir, today as
thank you so much.
Sure. Today, as it is a death anniversary of Dinbandhu Sir Chhotu Ram, and as a tribute, we had organized a special session on his life history, so that most of the people who are NRIs and who are basically settled in other different countries, and also the South Indian people who are not much aware about the life struggle of Dinbandhu Sir Chhotu Ram. So, considering that into point of view, we had organized this today's session, a special session devoted to his life and history. So we would like to elaborate you on his contribution and his social life and his life history, so that our all viewers will come to know about him. Sir, I would request you to elaborate and give a detailed introduction, detailed life history about him and his struggle for the toward the downtrodden people, sir. Dr. Akhtar, sir.
Thank you very much, and I am thankful for providing me an opportunity to talk about a legend, Chaudhry Chhotu Ram, and I'm also thankful to MNTV Network who arranged Ashish, especially Ashish, who arranged this program because Chaudhry Chhotu Ram was a great personality and arranging some program, special program on his personality, his achievements, and his political career and other achievements is fantastic. So I congratulate and I appreciate your endeavor to arrange um, a very good program uh, on the personality who worked for secular politics and Punjabi nationalism as well. So he's a great man, actually, Punjab ever produced. So today we will talk about Chaudhry Chhotu Ram, and my talk can be divided into two components. First, I will talk about Punjab and Punjabis and the political dynamics and social dynamics of Punjab, and then we will talk about Chaudhry Chhotu Ram, how he contributed being a part of Punjab and Indian politics. Punjab is a land of prowess, very bold people, and colonial Punjab was very important for the British because of two segments. One, it was a food basket for India, and second was it was a place where they collected recruitment, and they got uh, soldiers and fighting and warriors from this chunk of land. So Punjab resisted always the freebooters and invaders. So Punjabis played very important role in the national and regional history of subcontinent. But on the other hand, some apathetic attitude we can observe from uh, from the Punjabis when Punjab was divided on different in different years. But even then, there was no mass protest from the Punjabis. For example, in 1901, Punjab was divided by the British and NWFP was created. In 1911, Delhi was created and it was separated from the Punjab. There was no protest from the Punjabis. And in 1947, uh, Punjab was partitioned into two. There was no protest from the common Punjabis. And then 1966, Indian Punjab was partitioned into different. Haryana was separated. Chandigarh was given in the position of Kendra Sarkar and Himachal Pradesh. So there was no mass protest, and we have already seen, observed the protest from the Bengalis when Bengal was partitioned in 1905, and there were mass protest against this partition. But we could not see the same zeal and enthusiasm among the Punjabis. So this was the problem. Perhaps if we see that what problems the Punjab had been facing, so it was there was no implementation of rule of law. British were the first who introduced constitution in this region. Before that, there was no constitution, there was no implementation of constitution. So people of Punjab like to violate law. They think that this is their culture to go against law. So education was the only thing that could educate them that rule of law would be the best mechanism to survive in the society. But we see that Punjabi society was divided into two religiously. Religious elite, you can say Brahmins, and then masses. Then financially, you can say financial elite, and then masses. So it was divided into two main have not, privileged class and non-privileged class. So Punjab could not produce a leader of national level because these leadership comes from middle class or lower middle class. But Punjab was dominated by the elite class, either it's religious or non-religious or commercial or financial. So these were the social dynamics of Punjab. Uh, So when we look at the past of this region, and Mughals and Sultans, they remained um, uh, the kings or emperors of this land, but unfortunately they cannot be declared, although they were born in India, but we cannot declare them Indian because they cannot be attributed to any region of this land. For example, if we see that Mughals, were they Sindhis, were they Punjabis, were they Baloch, were they from Maharashtra? So we can see that their language was not indigenous. It was second language, Persian, and they did not belong to any region or any culture of the subcontinent, Indian subcontinent. So there was a problem. They could not contribute a lot to the masses, and they did not introduce any universities, and they did not work on technology and scientific development, and they did not work for new weapons and new organizations, welfare organizations, and like that. And unfortunately, they used always tum-tum or tangas or gadda that the emperor was using at that time. Just it was saying that that was tanga was decorated by them, and instead of one horse, they used to many horses, or they sat on the elephant. So this was not a scientific development that damaged the very solidarity and development of the country. Then during one thing I want to clear here, what you can find in my book, and my article is available online, that myth of divide and rule in British India. Uh, Many people say that there was a policy of British divide and rule in India, but I do believe that there was no divide and rule in India. The Indian society was already divided on the basis of religion when British came here. People were Christians, people were Hindus, people were Brahmins, people were Achuts, people were Muslims, people were Sikhs, so on. So it was already divided. So we will talk a little bit about this after this. So religion was uh, religion became a base of identity of all the religious communities living in subcontinent, and the base of establishment or foundation of any organization, or even educational institutions, and even political parties. The religion was base of all these, because there was a territorial nationalism, and then it was emerging mode of religious nationalism. So, but this is not bad if it's a natural phenomenon. Religion uh, can not be separated from human beings. Religion can be separated from politics as a system, but religion cannot be separated from human being. So this is a universal reality. So, but when religion is used for violence, not religion, anything that is used for violence, that is bad, and that is inhuman, and that cannot produce good results. So this was the problem that many communities in the name of religion were propagating violence, and ultimately we saw that violation of human rights or communal rights, and propagation for violence proved havoc and disastrous for uh, the territorial integration or integrity. Then we go to the man who was a secular in ideas, and he was loving Punjabi nationalism, and he worked day and night for the integration of the society of the different communities. And he posed to be cross communal in British Punjab, and his services cannot be ignored by any person who believe, who love the motherland. And being son of the soil, the statue of Chaudhry Chhotu Ram or Sir Chhotu Ram is always saluted by the sons of the soil. Chaudhry Chhotu Ram was born in 1881 and died um, in 1945. And 45 is the year that was crucial, and British were planning to leave the country, and different communities were raising their voice for their specific rights. So if we see that he was sorry, Chotu Ram was the leader who got education from Agra, then University of Delhi, and he plunged into the politics. And he was the leader who was in favor to educate the Punjabis. He propagated for non-violence, and he educated secular politics, and he was in favor of politics of martial races, and uh, he was doing politics of Punjabis basically, in which all the Punjabi communities could be addressed. He liked Allama Iqbal very much, and he used to recite this verse, Tundiye Bade Mukhalif se na घबरा है उखाब ये तो चलती है तुझे ऊंचा उड़ाने के लिए. So I translate that Allama Iqbal says that people should not, or leader should not be scared of the difficulties and hurdles in the way. It is just to prepare the leaders to go further and further to secure the positive ends and targets. It is just like Toynbee and then Ibn Khaldun. So this is the philosophy Allama Iqbal narrated, and Chaudhry Chotu Ram liked this uh, cult of philosophy very much. Then, if we see that what kind of response from the local people, so people called him Peer, and Peer, that in Western Punjab, in Pakistani Punjab, Muslims used to say the religious, not religious, but the people who have saintly heritage, who are saints, and saints and their followers are called murid. So people of Punjab called him Peer, and they declared themselves as murid. And then he was called Rahbar-e Azam. So Rahbar-e Azam, he was still remembered as Rahbar-e Azam. So he was a founder of Punjab Unionist Party, and along with Sir Fazle Hussain, who was a Rajput from Gurdaspur, Batala, and he was also a legal practitioner, and both of them had big contribution in the foundation of Unionist Party, and it was the political aspect of the life of Chaudhry Chotu Ram. And his motto, and if we look at the philosophy, political philosophy, or manifesto of the personality of Sir Chotu Ram, it was just what is right and what is wrong. Although it's a relative term, my right can be wrong for other, and others' right can be wrong for me, because before that people used to say that this is a war between right and wrong. But now the philosophy and mind has been matured, and people say that it is war between right and right. Because if I am right, the other, according to his perception, his standpoint, he is also right. So there is a battle, there is a war between right and right. So it is a relative term. Anyway, he used to work in the perspective of universal principles, right or wrong. So his political creed was that uh, he was to serve the peasants, because basically he belonged to agricultural class, and he was agriculturist, and he liked farmers, and peasantry was the main target to facilitate the peasantry. And for this he worked day and night. He traveled through the streets and cities and villages. I remember Sardar Ajmer Singh Sidhu, when I interviewed him in Reading, England, in 2008. So he told me that all the farmers gathered to listen to Sir Chhotu Ram in Firozpur, and then he talked against moneylender, and he said ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਲਾਲਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਜੇ ਮੈਂ ਤਕੜੀਆਂ ਨਾ ਚੁਕਾਈਆਂ ਤੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਛੋਟੂ ਰਾਮ ਨਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ, ਮੇਰਾ ਨਾਮ ਬਦਲ ਦੇਣਾ. So he was against moneylenders because they were violating the very integrity and working of the farmers of Punjab. So he was the man who helped in passing the Land Alienation Act of 1901. So he worked a lot, day and night, for the agriculture class. So he was in favor of agrarian revolution, and he was educationist as well, because he opened many schools. He started the Anglo-Sanskrit school in 1913 in Rohtak, and although he opened other schools, and for the people of his own district, Rohtak. So he opened banks as well. He opened societies as well. So he was educationist. He was a journalist as well, because he published Jat Gazette, and he was banker, as he opened many uh, societies and branches as well. So he was educationist, he was a journalist, he was banker, and he was agriculturist as well. Cooperative societies, cooperative banks, he opened just to facilitate the farmers, the peasants. So he loved the poetry. So that's why we can say that he was a literary personality as well. It does not mean that if he is involved in politics and other regional activities, it does not mean that he was far away from the literature. So we see that the next he loved literature, and then as a pure Hindu, he was a disciple of Bhagavad Gita, and it shows his religious affiliation with his religion, although he was against Brahmanical rule that pointed out by Guru Nanak, Guru Nanak Dev, who said that in India was suffering from the two odds or two evils. It's inhuman and immoral activities of the Mughal rule, and the second was Brahmins. So these two evils Guru Nanak pointed out, and very rightly Chaudhry Chhotu Ram pointed out the same, but uh, he was pure Hindu. So he loved Jat and martial races, He was a pure son of the soil, and he was Jat, and he behaved, he worked, he lived like a Jat. So he has no orthodox ideas. He accepted British constitution, and he can be said he was a modernist, and he absorbed new education, new system, new ideas, constitution, and new principles, new systems. So he was modernist. He was not conservative like an orthodox person. So he was very awakened person. So all initiatives for the farmers and Punjabis. So we can say that when he was in favor of Punjabis, when he was in Punjab Legislative Council, um, he contributed a lot in the politics, in the legislation. So we can say he was also reformist. So he introduced a number of reforms in favor of farmers and Punjabis. So I want to quote one um example here that may ramify in two ways. In 1942, Sir Sikandar Hayat was premier of Punjab. Uh, um, Died. He passed away. So senior most leader was Sir Chhotu Ram, and he was supposed to become premier of the Punjab, but he was not appointed as premier, and in place of him, Sir Khizar Hayat Dewana, Nawab Colonel Khizar Hayat Dewana was appointed as premier of the British Punjab. That was not a good decision, and it was totally against the merit. And Chaudhry Chotu Ram deserved the seats, being senior most politician, and he was experienced person, but he accepted it. And it was said that if Chaudhry Chotu Ram accepted this seat and he became premier of the Punjab, so um, many politicians, Muslim unionists, could desert the party. So this is again a question um, that can be talked later, and I can talk about this. So, but on this argument, I just want to prove that he was not a selfish person. He know how to sacrifice for a greater cause. He was a great leader, so his target was greater, and it was not merely an office of Premier of Punjab, but his target was very broader and larger than that. So he knew how to sacrifice for the cause, for his mission. So for his mission, he sacrificed. So actually, if we look at the Indian politics during British period, so politics was divided into two main chunks. First was central politics, या केंद्र सरकार, या केंद्र politics, and the second was provincial politics. So all India level, only two political parties were working on national level. Um, All India Muslim League and Indian National Congress. These were national political parties. And the rest of, especially Punjab Unionist Party, was confined to Punjab only. So if we see that what is uh, uh, what is the policy of the British that is conveyed to the viceroy, central government, and central government further conveyed the same to the provinces, and governors and provincial assemblies, especially governors, were supposed to implement the British policies uh, in the provinces. So the same situation was the political dynamics of Indian polity, and it was just like that. All India Muslim League and Indian National Congress, they were more important than these regional political parties. And the decision made between Viceroy or British and All India Muslim League and Congress had more weight than the regional political parties. So decision coming from the central government or central political parties were supposed to accept it by the provincial governors or provincial governments and political parties as well. So that's why we see that in partition era or in the last edge of the partition, um, the major stakeholders were All India Muslim League and Indian National Congress. So the rest of the communities or political parties, they had not so big importance as these two political parties. So that was, we will have to understand the political dynamics of British Indian politics. So one thing I have read, the many Indian scholars use, that Chaudhry Ramat Ali was the first man who coined the word Pakistan. It's not like that. The research has proved otherwise. And Sayyid Ghulam Hassan Kazmi, in 1928, used first time word Pakistan, and he applied for a weekly magazine. Its name was Pakistan in Abbottabad or Hazara. He applied for for the magazine, and its name was Pakistan. So research has proved and digged out some new conclusions. So this is important to convey this message. So actually, when Pakistan scheme started, and it was passed in Mantopag, Pakistan Resolution or Lahore Resolution 1940. So it was very difficult time for the aggressionist protagonists, especially Chaudhry Chhotu Ram, what to do with the secessionists, who believed that their rights were not properly honored and their leadership was not being honored. So, but on the other hand, Chaudhry Chhotu Ram um remained very strong in his mission, in his ideas, and he opposed the partition of Punjab and partition of India, and he was against Pakistan's scheme. But the wave of Pakistan scheme was so forceful that it could not be blocked. And if we see that Chaudhry Chotu Ram started Jat Sabha or Jat Mahasabha, and he said that Granthi, Maulvi, and Brahman should not be honored in the politics, and we will have to look at the politics, uh, minusing or deleting the influence of all these religious protagonists. But even then, he could not do it because the forceful wave of Pakistan scheme could not be blocked. But his legacy is still alive, and Punjabi still like him a lot, whether they live in Pakistani Punjab or they live in Indian Punjab, but they like Chaudhry Chotu Ram. And when we say that Indian Punjab, it means Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Chandigarh, and Punjab. All these Punjab, from Delhi to Rawalpindi or Abbottabad, Hazara. So all Punjabis who know the education and mission of Sir Chotu Ram, they like him. So these are the final things. Just I want to repeat, I want to conclude that all the people, it is a minority question when started in India. It was a minority questions. And today we are talking about minority questions. First of all, Muslims were minority in India, and they started demanding their rights, and the rights were not honored. In Punjab, Sikhs were minority, and they demanded some specific rights. They were not honored, so there was a problem. Even today, if Brahmins, they are minority, and other Hindus, they are, and Sikhs and other minority rights are not being honored, so it would be problem, whether it's in Pakistan, whether it's in India, or whether it's in any country of the world. When minorities, now the definition of democracy is repeated in other words, that uh, majority rule with the consultation of minorities. So if minorities would be sidelined, that society would not witness any kind of peace. So this is a message, especially not from my side. It is a message of Sir Chhotu Ram, that the masses should be respected, masses should be honored, and all the rights of the masses should be honored and observed by the government. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. You had a very well elaborated the events before Sir Choturam, and once Sir Choturam's struggle started, how he had taken care of all the things which were required to secure the rights of the farmers, secure the rights of all the citizens and education. He was a good educationist, and he was also a good literary person, and his involvement was really appreciable. Sir, really thankful to you for joining us today on MNT News Network, and sparing your valuable time, and giving brief, sorry, not brief, but very good elaborative information on Sir Chotura, which was really which will be really helpful to all the viewers of MNT News Network, and definitely the total overall contribution of him in his entire life is really having a word. So, on behalf of MNT News Network, I would like to thank you for joining us today, and sparing your valuable time and giving the information on Sir Choturam, which is not available mostly in the media part. We will really invite you on some other occasions and some other topics, and hope you will be able to join and spare your valuable time and give information as a panelist on different topics. That is what we expect, sir. And we are really thankful to you for joining today. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank
Jai
you.
Hind, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, with your permission, I would like to take. I would like to declare about tomorrow's topic. Tomorrow, as we are celebrating the Mulnivasi Mahanayika Kranti Utsav from 3rd of January to 12th of January, and tomorrow, we are going to discuss about Mata Ramai's contribution in the overall social movement of Mulnivasi Bhojans. So tomorrow is Monday, 10th of January, and we will be meeting at 8:30. And tomorrow's topic, which is in Hindi, is Mulnivasi Bhojan Samaj के आंदोलन में माता रमाई का योगदान. And in this on this particular topic, we will have the panelist and special guest as Mulnivasi Suhasini Temburnikarji, who is Samajik Chintak from Madhya Pradesh, and she will be giving brief information about Mata Ramai's contribution in the overall Mulnivasi Bhujan social movement. So thank you all viewers for joining us today and listening to us. This video will be available on Facebook and YouTube page. And thank you very much for sparing your valuable time. With this, we end this today's session. We will meet you tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Thank you. Jai Bhim, Jai Mulnivasi.